everyone, it is Rachel here. Welcome to another episode of the Keys to Success on HCG. This is episode 5, and this is going to be how to succeed in phase 3. I thought that I did a video about this already, that's why I haven't done one, because I thought I already had one, but I guess I didn't. Somebody asked me to do it though, so here we go. You know, phase 3 can kind of be a scary thing. You know, phase 2, everything is outlined for you so perfectly, and you know, it's very strict and regimented, and then it's like you get into phase 3 and you think to yourself like, well, what do I eat? How do I know what's good? This has carbs in it, can I eat that? So it can be a little bit intimidating. So hopefully this video is going to help out some people. So first of all, when you talk about phase 3, you kind of need to talk about, you need to get down to the basics, like, you know, what is phase 3? So, you know, a lot of people put so much focus on phase 2 that they kind of overlook phase 3. Phase 3 is what's referred to as your stabilization phase. Once you complete phase 2, your LDW, you are going to try to maintain that weight, whatever your LDW was, your last dosage weight, if you're not familiar with what that means, within a 2-pound range. You cannot go above or below 2 pounds within that number. So say my LDW was 150. So what I want to try to do for the 3 weeks that I'm on phase 3 is I want to stay between 148 and 152. That's the range that you want to be in. 4-pound range total, 2 pounds above or below your LDW. Like I just mentioned, phase 3 is 21 days minimum. Now, don't misunderstand. If you have to do correction days, it is best for you to try to maintain a weight, you know, without correction days for 21 days. So this could mean that your phase 3 could be longer than 3 weeks. It would probably be better if it was, because you want to be able to stabilize at one weight for 21 days minimum. So, you know, that's kind of a personal preference kind of thing, but that would be my suggestion, would be to try to maintain whatever weight that you are at for 21 days. And you know, some people don't stabilize at their LDW. My second round, or actually my first round, I stabilized at I think about 4 or 5 pounds below that. I was not intentionally trying to lose weight, however I got down and that's where I stabilized. My second round, I stabilized like 3 pounds above my LDW. Once again, not trying to gain weight, but that's just where I ended up. So it's kind of a trial and error kind of thing, and you'll have to kind of feel it out for yourself. But the reason that phase 3 is so important is because when you stabilize your weight, you're resetting your hypothalamus, and you're resetting your body's metabolism, and you're letting your body have time to allow it to get used to the new weight that you're at. If you don't stabilize for long enough, you know, your body's not going to create that new set point, and you're more likely to gain the weight back. So it's extremely important to do phase 3 for a long enough period of time. Okay, the phase 3 eating strategy. Now, this is just my personal opinion, and, you know, take it with a grain of salt, because, you know, I've had some what I consider unsuccessful phase 3s, but phase 3 is kind of hard. So this is just my recommendations. So after you stop taking your injections or your drops, whichever you're doing, you have 3 VLCD days in which you still are eating the 500 calories, but you're no longer taking the HCG. This is allowing the HCG to get out of your system. For those 3 days, it will still be in your system. That's why you're still on VLCD. You probably will lose more weight those 3 days. But I would say the first maybe 2 or 3 days that you're officially on phase 3, my suggestion is to simply take, you know, like a typical P2 menu and just double everything. Double your protein, double your vegetables. Don't add any new foods in yet. Do this for the first 2 or 3 days. I would say maybe increase your calories to between 1,000 and 1,200, maybe not even, you know, that much. I would say at least 1,000. This is just to get your body used to upping the calorie intake. Like I said, try to stick to P2 foods if you can. After that, you know, if you feel like your body's doing okay with that, maybe after the second or third day, up your calories a little bit more to between 12 and 1500. At this point, I think it would be safe, maybe after half a week or even a whole week if you're kind of nervous about it. At that point, it would be okay to start adding in new foods. What you need to understand about adding in new foods is that you need to do it slowly. I'm talking like maybe one new thing a day. And, you may have thought before that cheese was okay for you. Or you may have thought before that you could eat nuts and it would be okay for you. But you'd be surprised at the changes that go on in your body. So maybe the first day you want to add in a new food, you want to have scrambled eggs for breakfast. Okay, have the eggs for breakfast. But don't add anything new besides the eggs. Because you want to be able to see how it affects your weight, if it does. A lot of times you will discover that you have sensitivity to foods that you didn't know you had. For example, I have discovered that I'm very sensitive to dairy. I can only usually do maybe 2 servings of dairy a day, if that, or else my body overreacts and I gain a lot of weight. This is true for people who eat certain kinds of nuts. Some people who eat eggs, it affects them like that. So this is kind of just a period of experimentation to see how things work for your body. If you try something and it turns out that you gain a little bit of weight, maybe hold off a little bit longer on it. Kind of put it on the back burner and, maybe next week try it again. So what are good P3 foods? I get people ask me all the time, Rachel, I don't know what to eat on P3. So I'm going to list off some good foods for you to eat. The most important thing to remember with P3 is that fats and protein are going to be your friends, and you want to try to stay away from carbs, specifically starches and added sugars, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. So what are some good P3 foods? Good P3 foods are high in protein and have good fats. So, dairy items would include milk, cheeses. This can be, like the chunk cheeses, cream cheese. Don't buy shredded cheese from the store. However, if you're going to buy cheese, shred it yourself, because shredded cheese has starch added to it to keep it from sticking together. So, Greek yogurt is a very good option, very high in protein. Cottage cheese, sour cream, butter. And with these things, you don't ever want to go with low-fat items. You want them to be the full-fat versions, because low-fat is actually not very healthy for you. If you read Maria Emmerich's book about Secrets to a Healthy Metabolism, she tells you all about how actually terrible low-fat things are for you. So, fat's good, protein's good. Some other items that you might consider adding in: avocados, very, very healthy, very delicious. Eggs. Salmon, tuna, like fatty proteins are good. And if you're having trouble with getting in enough calories, you don't think you're getting enough calories every day, try a really good protein powder. You can do protein shakes. Just be careful though, because a lot of protein powders have added sugar. So if you're going to get one, I would recommend maybe HCG, because his protein powders are sweetened with stevia, which is all natural, which of course, as everyone knows on protocol, you can have stevia. So I would suggest that. Now, as far as carbs go, people say all the time, well, I'm looking at labels and it says that there's carbs in it. Does that mean I can't have it? Well, it depends on what it is and whether or not these carbs are added in. Things like fruits, for example, are very high in natural carbs, because they're high in natural sugars. Of course, there's no added sugar to fruits. However, they are high in natural sugars. So you just want to be careful. You don't want to go with the high sugar fruits for P3. Stick to low ones. And if you're going to add them in, same thing with everything else, just kind of add them in slowly to see how it does for your body. My personal experience with P3, it's good to determine how many calories your body needs per day. And a good way to do this is to find out your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate, and then using that number, you can use this equation to figure out how many calories you need to consume per day to maintain your weight. I'll put in a little link to a website that you can do that with. Another question that people always want to know, because you're not on P2 anymore, can I exercise on P3? And from personal experience, guys, I would tell you, if you are going to, hold off until, probably closer to the end of P3 when you're ready to move into P4. Because, your body has gone through such a shock in P2 that you really kind of want to let it do its thing and get used to the new weight and get used to the new eating habits, that exercise is almost a little bit too much. And I think that's what messed me up on my last P3, because I kept gaining weight, but I wanted to exercise, so I was not allowing myself that time that I needed to recuperate from P2. Another suggestion, a lot of people don't do this. I, however, am a carb counter, or not a carb counter, a calorie counter. And there are tons of websites that can do this for you. I know Livestrong.com does it, FitDay.com does it. The website that I use is called caloriecount.com. It's a great one. It can log your food, it can log your activities, it logs your weight, and they also have an app. This is really bad, I don't know if you'll be able to see. See, that's what it looks like. And you can add food, you can add an activity, you can add your weight, you can look at stuff, you can search for stuff down here. It's very cool, and then it breaks down everything for you. So typically, on a P3 day, my breakdown is about what it shows here, even though this isn't complete for the day. It's usually more than half, or at least half protein, which is the orange one. Probably about 2/3 of the remaining half or more is fats, which is the blue one, and then very little carbs, which is the green one. So, and that's kind of what you want to aim for. You want to try to get a lot of proteins. You also want to try to get a lot of good, healthy fats, and not a lot of carbohydrates. So, I hope that this is helpful to people who are confused about phase 3. It's not as scary as everyone says it is, but you do have to be careful with how you approach it, because, I've known some people that have just kind of haphazardly gone into it and have gained most, if not all, of their weight back that they lost on P2. So it is something to be taken seriously. Hopefully this helps you guys. If you have any more questions about phase 3, please feel free to comment and leave them below. And happy P3, guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.